Good evening, I'm your host. I'm Jack Remington of the NFL channel. This is take 5, my final take. I gotta go to work. I can't do much cutting. I gotta get the fudge out of here. Let's go over what last week, week 11. We were 8 wins, 5 losses, and 1 push. We were at 8-3-1 with 2 games to go. We had the Broncos, but they didn't cover. They won, but they didn't cover against the Vikings. We had the Chiefs. They were up 17-7 at halftime, and they couldn't catch the ball in the second half. And I thought I finally got the good analogy of what the Philadelphia Eagles are. Larry Holmes, the heavyweight champion of the world for 8 years in the 70s and 80s, he would just hold out his hand, and he was fighting Marvis Frazier, Joe Frazier's son, and pow! Hey ref, stop this fight! Pow! Hey ref, will you stop this fight? You know, Marvis Frazier stopped throwing. He couldn't even reach the guy. Come on, that's what the Philadelphia Eagles are. I'm telling you, I wanted to say this in week 1 and week 2 and all the other weeks, and I was afraid to say it. I'm going to say it now. Here is week 12. This is your Super Bowl winner. This is Philadelphia Eagles. They just move people out on offense. How do you stop that? That scrum thing where they line everybody up and try to get that 4th and inches or 3rd and 1. It's worked every time. Except, and the guy told me he stopped it one time. The commander stopped him. It was mishandling. Hurts couldn't handle the ball. He grabbed the ball too late. Just a nanosecond too soon. And I didn't see it. I didn't see the highlights. He told me about it because he's a Redskins or a Commanders fan. So anyway, enough of that. This is take 5. I can't have a long video. I got to have them short. 8 wins, 5 losses, one push. We won all 5 of our teeters last week. So go back and listen to the part where I give the 5-team 2-point teeters. And even though I can't watch any games, I still betting them. I still won with them. This is a good thing. And even though I haven't been able to sit down for 7 weeks and watch a game because my granddaughter's moving, I'm never going to get another chance with my grandbaby again. And she's 4.5. So I got to do this. Let's get to week 12, some more discussion, and I got some screenshots up here for credibility purposes. One last thing I am going to add in here. I was at my son-in-law's house, and we wanted to watch the Cleveland Browns versus Steelers game. Even Steven Nover, he's a magnificent, formidable handicapper. I don't like to go against that guy. He went big on the Cleveland Browns -1, so I went with him. And I even posted it on pregame.com. If you go back to localpregame.com on the NFL forum thread, and we had 2,000 on the Browns -1. So we couldn't get the game. So Channel 2 and Channel 9, it's not the Browns, it's the Steelers is a big market for football. And we couldn't get it. And they were supposed to show up, but they didn't. Only he controls the TV thing, and it's his house. So he'd go back and forth. We were watching the Chargers -3 at the Packers, and we had the Packers. We got lucky. We won. Going back between the Dolphins, -13.5, hosting the Raiders. We had the Dolphins. We lost that one. The Dolphins looked sloppy. They looked terrible. And the Raiders kept kicking field goals. Every time the Dolphins fumbled the ball, the Raiders couldn't score, but they kick a field goal. So, and they kept them in the game. And at the very end there, the Dolphins had a chance to cover that 13.5 with a touchdown late. They ran the ball out. Made a bad pick. It was too many points. But we couldn't get the Browns game. So we got our cell phones. I'm on ESPN NFL, and we saw that Cleveland was up 3-0 and 10-0. And here comes Pittsburgh. 10-3, 10-10. They tied it up. Pittsburgh got the ball with a couple minutes left. I thought we're going to lose this game. Well, and somehow they didn't miss score. Whatever happened, Cleveland got the ball back, but it looked like they weren't going to do anything, and it was going to go into overtime. And if it goes to overtime and ends in a tie, we lose. So we were thinking it was the end of the 10-10 tie, but Cleveland somehow got the ball back and kicked the field goal with seconds left with them. Saved us. We got to watch part of the Broncos Vikings. Broncos are undersized. They're too small. They made the same mistake that they made years ago. Red Miller was the coach at first. Red Miller was the coach when the Broncos first made it with Craig Morton. Dan Reeves took them to the Super Bowl a couple of times with John Elway, but they could never beat the big Redskins and beat the Giants because those teams had mammoths on defense. I mean, their offensive line was too small. And I'm telling you, Broncos are making the same mistake they made under Dan Reeves in those Super Bowl years, the early John Elway Super Bowl years. They're just too undersized. And yeah, they got a little bit of team speed, but so Sean Payton is getting the most out of this team, like I said he would. If you would pay attention to me, I told you he's going to turn this around. He had a good chance to turn it around, and he has turned it around. Now they're favored 2 weeks in a row. Oh, wow, what do you think? Well, I'm going against them this week. We'll get to that in a bit. But like I said, I watched the Chiefs and Eagles. The Chiefs, they just can't catch the ball. Kelsey's the most dependable receiver. So let's get to week 12. We went 3-0. We swept Turkey Day. We lost on Black Friday with the Jets. A bunch of idiots. So we're over the game, and the ones that I already bet or picked on the monitor game on pregame.com, I did take some screenshots real quick. So once I do editing, I just put it up there as quick as I can and we'll get it rolling. Week 12, we had the Packers plus 7.5 at the Lions. We had Dallas Cowboys minus 12.5 hosting the Commanders. We had the 49ers on the road laying 7.5 against the Seahawks. And we won all those games. I'll have the screenshots up here for you to prove it. Here's my big loser at the stupid Jets plus 9 hosting the Miami Dolphins. I'm hoping they would take another week off like they did against the Raiders, but nope. We're taking Jacksonville Jaguars minus 1.5. They're at the Houston Texans. The Texans already beat them once. We're taking Indianapolis Colts at home minus 2.5. They're hosting the Buccaneers. We're taking the New York Giants plus 3 home underdog. I know I keep saying about home underdogs. I'll make it really quick. They've only won 1 week this year. They've had 2 weeks where they were a push 500 ball. They won and lost the same amount. But the other 8 weeks, as an aggregate for each week, the 8 weeks, home underdogs have lost. They have not hit 500. I'm taking a home dog here. I'm taking the Giants plus 3 hosting my New England Patriots. We're taking Tennessee Titans at home. They're laying 3.5. They're hosting Carolina Panthers. We're taking the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 1.5. They're at the Cincinnati Bengals. The New Orleans Saints minus 1. They're on the road. They're at the Atlanta Falcons. We're taking the Saints minus 1. We're taking the Rams minus 1. All of a sudden, they're at the favored Arizona Cardinals. I'll get to that in a bit. We're taking the Cleveland Browns plus 1.5. They're at Denver Broncos. The Broncos favored 2 weeks in a row. What do you think? Well, I'll tell you what I think. We're taking the Buffalo Bills plus 3. They're at Philadelphia Eagles. I know. Now hold your nose. The Raiders plus 9. They're hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. We're taking the Chargers plus 3.5. They're hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Monday Night Football, hold my nose. We're taking the Chicago Bears plus 3.5. They're at the Minnesota Vikings. Quick discussion, and I'll go over my team. I only got 2 teeters this week. I know what you're thinking. Well, you went 5-0 last week. Now you're Larry Holmes. No, it doesn't work like that when you're handicapping. When you finally you have a breakthrough with one thing, because there's a regression to the mean. It's hard to go 10-0. It's hard to hit 5 teeters like this 1 week and hit them all the next week. So I'm going to cut it back to two team teeters, and they're both going to be 6 point. Because it's $1.20 juice, I'm not going to risk a lot of juice when I know I might have one loser, and so I've wasted my whole week. So I'm going to go with the 4 best teams with a 6 point swing my way, and we'll get to that later. Quick discussion. Turkey Day games. I like what I saw in the pack. If Matt LaFleur can make the adjustments, and they know the Lions very well, and even the Lions got a lot of pressure on them. They haven't won a Turkey game in a long time, and this is a bad spot for the Lions because they're fat and happy. And the show we won. I didn't get to watch any of the game, but I saw the highlights. And the Dallas Cowboys minus 12.5. The Commanders a dead team walking. I mean, I was listening to a podcast on a different channel. This guy thinks that Washington shouldn't have been won a game at all. He thinks that they should be over. The Cardinals should have beaten in week 2. And he went through his spiel. Well, I saw what the Giants did with this DeVito, Danny DeVito, or what's his name, Anthony DeVito, whatever the quarterback's name is, supposed to be the worst quarterback in the NFL with Cleveland's quarterback. Well, he turned into a world beater and shredded them. I don't think much of the Commanders. We had the 49ers minus 7.5 for Seahawks, but I got to say this. This is the best the Seahawks have looked all year long. I know what you're thinking. How could you say that? How could you get on public television from the world where everybody can listen to your big mouth, and you're saying the Seahawks look pretty good at times? Well, they did. I got to watch the second half of the game, but they crawled back in that game. I mean, they made a game out of it. Geno Smith put that ball up, and the guy should have caught that ball like a 45-yard pass, and he dropped the ball on the sideline. That game could have changed the game. So now we're looking at 3rd and 10 now. So the 49ers hung on. And I mean, in the fourth quarter, the third quarter was all Seahawks, and they look pretty damn good. It's the best I've seen them look all year. But the 49ers are 49ers, and on 3rd and 7, they just got barely into the red zone, and the Seahawks were coming back, and some kind of flat slot pass to Deebo Samuel, number 19, and there was 3 guys that missed him. He got that first down by 1. I mean, if it had been any other receiver, they make that tackle, and then they got to kick a field goal. And the back door, I mean, it was still wide open. Seattle was starting to move the ball pretty well. And having Trent Williams back on offensive line for the 49ers, and having the other 2 people that were on defense, 1 linebacker and 1 defensive back, I mean, that makes the difference. And Brock Purdy was a little rusty. He missed 2 easy passes, but that's okay. Hey, we're armchair people. We can't do what they do on their worst day, and I appreciate that. Okay, we had the Jets. This is my last gasp for the Jets. I mean, this was their chance. They benched Zach Wilson, even the guys that don't agree with me, even the guys that are going against me every week on pregame.com, on the boards and on other football sites, stuff, they all agree with me that they when Aaron Rodgers went down, they should have got a quarterback right then and there, but they didn't do it. I put some of that blame on Robert Saleh, and I was listening to the same podcast was talking about the Commanders, and the same handicapper, who's a pretty good handicapper. I'm not gonna say his name. He's a real good handicapper. He goes, "Well, do you like Robert Saleh?" Well, I did until this year. Well, now I know why he said that. Robert Saleh buckled under pressure. I don't know if it was Woody Johnson, or I don't know if he's, I don't know what he's thinking. He might have been ordered to stand down. Who knows? If the Jets defense they had last year, this was their game to take control of the AFC East, and they didn't do it. So I'll be fading the Jets from here on out. Jaguars, they already lost once at Texans. They're pretty decisive. If the Texans win this game, they're going to seize a good stranglehold on this division. But C.J. Stroud, I haven't watched a full game in 7 weeks. It's going to be at least 2 more weeks for I can watch a full game in my own place where I can watch any game I want. So and go back and forth. But I think Jaguars are going to just assert themselves. I think C.J. Stroud had 3 interceptions the game they won the other week. I think they had a little bit of a horseshoe, which I'm not knocking them. I like C.J. Stroud. From what little bit I know about him, he's trying hard, and he should get Rookie of the Year. But he's a rookie, and I think Jacksonville's going to reassert their experience, and Doug Peterson's going to have a good plan against them. So I'm taking Jacksonville. Colts, the better offense. Patriots versus Giants. Both teams are broken, but the Giants are less broken. I think the Giants got a better defense, and I just think the team was giving up on Mac Jones. I know Bill Belichick finally resorted to what he did in 2001 between Tom Brady and Drew Bledsoe. Tom Brady beat him out. Now, this is the first $100 million quarterback in the NFL was Drew Bledsoe. Okay, and he was quite good. But Bill Belichick said Tom Brady won the competition. And they were roommates too. They were roommates all those few years they were together. From what I was told, they were great friends. So, and that helps. They've both got some problems too. I'll bet $10,000 versus your $1 that New England. I think they quit. And I could say the same thing about the New York Giants, but you know what? I think the Giants are going to rise up. I just got this feeling. I know. I should never say I got a feeling, because you go broke that way. But I really feel strong. I'm getting 3 points. I think the wrong team is favored. I think it should be pick'em. Or if anything, put the Giants -1. I think the wrong team is favored, and I always try to play those games. That's how I'm playing it. I'm taking the Giants with a better defense, and they probably have more motivation in their home. And they won last week on the road, so think of the future. So if Dayball quit throwing his team under the bus and shut his mouth and make him play ball and let him play ball, I think they should win this running away. And if I was in Vegas, I would be looking at the alternate line on this game. Say Tennessee Titans. This is a good chance for them to get an easy win to keep the hopes alive for the sinking ship of the Tennessee Titans. I mean, say these videos. Mike Vrabel was an underdog. Well, he's not an underdog this week. It used to be, Mike Vrabel was 24-8-2 as an underdog. Then it was 24-9-1. Then 24-10. Now he's 24-13-1. Forget that. His last 2 times home underdog, he hasn't covered. So drop that line, handicappers. Drop that line, will you? Okay. But they should have enough to beat the Panthers here. Steelers versus the Bengals, we're taking Steelers -1.5. That line's awful low. I mean, I had Steelers -4.5. I mean, Bengals lost Joe Burrow for the year. Essentially a pick'em game, -1.5. Really? What are the odds makers trying to scare me? Bengals are home, but they're in last place. They're 5-5, but they're in last place in the toughest division in football. I don't think the Bengals' defense is what it was last year. They've taken a step back. Steelers' offense is taking a big step back, but their defense is hanging in there. Other than the week 1 against 49ers destroying them, the defense has played pretty well. And I don't like Tomlin, but I do like the Bengals. I love the Bengals coaching staff and the owner and the players. I'm kind of a Cincinnati fan, but we're here to pick winners. I think Steelers are going to see a chance to bury this Bengals team and not have to worry about them, because they've been making end of the year surges where they would peel off 10 in a row, whatever, 8 in a row, whatever they've been doing. They did it 2 years in a row. Well, they got to make it. This is their chance to put the knife and stake in the heart. The Dracula, the silver stake is going to kill the Dracula. Not a regular stake where he can still live. The silver stake in his heart. Tomlin, he's astute enough to be aware of that. We're taking the Saints -1 against the Falcons. I think the Falcons are in the free fall. I think we got 2 worst coaches of the year. Canada's playing. I got to take the team with the better offense. I think the Saints got the better team speed. The Falcons have that great running back, that Jamal Robinson, whatever his name is, but they don't use him. They don't use him. So I don't know if he's playing hurt. I don't know what the deal is. I'm taking the team speed with the Saints. The Rams +1 against Cardinals. Because Kyler Murray came back and looked pretty good in their win the other week. Oh, now the Cardinals are back. Blah, blah. They're not a playoff team, folks. Okay, the Rams actually had they still had some of the components of the Super Bowl run from 3 years ago. And Aaron Donald's still playing pretty hard on defense. He's a one-man wrecking crew. He's the only one getting any sacks, like I saw in the other video. And on the highlights, he showed him getting a sack against my better judgment. I forgot to talk about the Seahawks game. I went against Seattle last week. It was Rams -1 hosting the Seattle Seahawks. I took the Seahawks, okay? And I didn't think that Pete Carroll would let his team get slunkered the second half for the second time against the same team. Now, I've never seen it happen in a Pete Carroll team. And guess what happened? I made my picks early in the week because I was on the road, and I didn't get to watch any of the game. But I saw the highlights, and what I saw was the same thing that happened when I got to watch the full game in week 1. The Seattle was kicking their ass the first half, looked good, Not as good as they looked against 49ers in defeat last week, but they looked good enough. Rams, and Sean McVay on the sideline pacing back and forth and got the thing up, doesn't want They run the ball on 3rd and 2. I thought, Seattle's going to win this. No, second half did the same. And the line moved from Rams -1 to Seattle +2.5. See, here's the bad thing about the Super Contest. The lines are fixed. They don't move. And I keep trying to pick the teams that are getting the benefit of the line move. Well, I couldn't do that with this game. I wouldn't have picked the game. But I know on the other video, I'm not contradicting myself. I say I always try to pick the -1, -1.5, -2 games because you got to be able to pick a good percentage of these games to get 80% to win a contest or win a week, whatever. And so I went against my own advice, and I didn't wait another day. But they had a chance to kick a field goal at the end there, but they missed it. Anyway, and we all knew that. Okay, you hear the dogs barking out there? I'm going to get there in a minute for the neighbors to call the cops again. Browns +1.5 against the Broncos. Really? The Broncos favored twice in a row? The odds makers are taking the favorite as the smallest team in the NFL versus the Browns, the biggest team. This reminds me of the Super Bowl when the Redskins walked all over the Broncos 45-10. For one quarter or 20 minutes, like in a poker tournament, anyone can get lucky for 20 minutes and have their skill get them to survive. I got to text my wife, tell her to get the dogs. We're taking the Browns. I know their offense is kind of shaky, but you know what? Their defense is going to smash Russell Wilson. I don't see how the Browns will win this game. Next game, we're taking the Bills +3 at the Eagles. The Eagles are going to try to keep pace because Dallas start really come to life offensively. And yeah, the Eagles are going to try, but you know what? But they still don't really need the game yet. Buffalo does. They got their offense clicking against the just end of season Jets. Getting a field goal, I might regret this, but I think the Eagles are Super Bowl champions, but I think Buffalo's going to make a run here, and then this is the part of the season where they get hot. Raiders +9. Looking for Raiders playing hard for their interim coach. They're going to try to get him the job, which is good to find. As a handicapper, we need to take advantage of that, and so we're going to take the Raiders as a home underdog. Just hope for the best. Just keep the game close. And Chiefs, they just want to win and get out of town. Chiefs are not known to run up scores. They're not known to pad scores. They're not known to even cover games. I mean, they have not been a good point spread cover for several years, even though they have got a dynasty going. We're taking the Chargers at home, +3.5 against the Ravens. Ravens are relaxing a little bit. I think the Charger offense, the back door's open because their offense is really quite good. And as long as they got Keenan Allen on the field, they can score any time. And I think late in the game, the Ravens probably going to be winning. I look for the Chargers to score late, and the Ravens run the clock out. That's how I'm handicapping this game. Last game, I know I like Josh Dobbs. He's a good story for the NFL. Vikings are rallying their team, but his line is low for a reason. Okay, Justin Fields is back for the Bears, and he's covered a couple point spreads on the road against the Vikings already. So go back and look for yourself. They were 8-point dogs, and they only lost by 6 or 7. We had that game. There's certain teams he just does well against, and I think he's going to do well against the Vikings. Josh Dobbs is pretty good. I want him to succeed. And the Vikings are, they've done very well since their 0-3 start. They were the best 0-3 team. We said that in week 4, and we had them. Having said that, they're going to exhale a little bit, and I think the Bears are going to sneak up on them. So for the 2-team teasers, 6 points, only 2 teams, 2 6-point teasers, -120 juice each. So we went 5-0 last week. It's hard to go 5-0 2 weeks in a row. regression to the mean. I'm only doing 2 teasers this week. We're way ahead on teasers now, and we're going to try to run it through for the entire season and pocket a lot of money, entertainment money. Gambling? Me? You kidding me? I work with kids. I work at churches. Anyway, I should run for office, shouldn't I? So the first 6-point teaser we're taking the Cleveland Browns plus 7.5 at Denver. I like that bet. We're taking the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 4.5. They're at the Cincinnati Bengals. I like that one too. The second teaser, 2 teams, 6 points. Taking New York Giants plus 9. They're hosting Patriots. We're taking the Rams plus 7 at the Arizona Cardinals. All of a sudden the Cardinals are favored? Really? Just because of a quarterback come back? He's worth all these points? Really? The Rams have a mathematical chance. Cardinals are done. I think the Cardinals are officially eliminated, but the Rams aren't. The Rams might be going on a mini run here if Stafford can stay healthy. So having said that, I can't think of anything else. I had to go get the dogs. I've got a little bit of cutting I got to do, but I'll be as quick as possible. Thank you, players. Stay within your means. Long live the NFL, the greatest game on the planet. We're coaching. It means the most in any sport. I'll argue with anybody blue in the face. Always a great day to be an American. Stay within your means. See you next time. Thank you, folks.